Started here. All right, looks like we're live. Just gonna adjust the settings here on TikTok. All right, welcome everyone. All right, this should be a very interesting night. Woke up full of piss and vinegar this morning, had all kinds of great ideas, jumped out of bed at like 4 a.m. and started doing shit. And so I've got about 3 brain cells left, so this should be a fun live. And I've got some random ideas, so we're going with some popcorn wisdom. Hey, Esker, welcome. Good to see you back. Welcome. All right, so if you're on TikTok, please tap the screen, share the live. Facebook, feel free to comment so that I know that you're here. And I think I'm probably going to start switching over to going live on my YouTube channel instead, and I'll post an announcement with the link on Facebook, just so that you guys can go over there. For those of you that are checking me out for the first time, my YouTube channel is Coach Tina B 125. So if there's any videos that you've jumped in or you have to leave early or something like that, you want to watch any of the replays, you can go there, check that out. All of the thumbnails also have my artwork, which art therapy is a big part of my healing process and recovery, so you can check that out. And if you like it, you can buy prints or merchandise of those abstract artworks. Okay? All right, so if this is your first time seeing me, my name is Tina. I am a happiness coach, and I help people heal some of their past trauma by talking about my experience, strength, and hope, in hopes that you can take some wisdom from the skills and the things that I've done and be able to apply that to your life, so that you can move from being in a depressed, anxious, dark state and move into a happier state. Okay? So I'm going to tell some like random stories. I think we'll probably focus a little bit more on work related stuff and how some of your past trauma can kind of come up, and also other people's unhealed trauma, how that can end up affecting you in the workplace, because there's certain behaviors that end up coming up, and then if you don't understand somebody else's trauma, it may cause you to retaliate or lash out in ways that are not healthy. Okay, so one of this, I'm going to talk about a couple of stories. So oftentimes when you work in a corporate environment, you have to dress appropriately. And so I was used to, for the first, from 17 to 27, I was working either midnight shift or in the warehouse or like in the shipping office kind of thing. So I got to wear jeans and t-shirts and, you know, comfy clothes. Back then stirrup pants were a big thing, and I wore a lot of stirrup pants. And then when I moved to a new company, like nobody said anything because we were a little bit, it didn't really matter, right? Because we were in and out of the warehouse, so you didn't, unless you were one of the highfalutin front office kind of people, then you dressed up in suits and stuff like that. So I was used to wearing that, and then I kind of carried that when I went to the new job, and they were used to people dressing up a little bit more. And I remember my boss having to call it out to me. It's like, Tina, you can't wear stirrup pants and running shoes into the office. And I'm like, why not? It doesn't affect how I actually work. And I remember there was a guy that I was dating years ago, and he worked in one of the downtown offices in Toronto, and he used to get a lot of flack for, maybe it's an Aries thing, I don't know, because Aries, they tend to go for more comfortable athletic kind of stuff, but you know, and he was an Aries, and he worked downtown Toronto, and he would always get in trouble for not dressing up enough, not like fully, you know, suits kind of thing, right? So, and I remember him getting in fights with his boss of, you know, hey, what I wear doesn't actually determine how I perform. And I think what kind of brought this to the surface is I was watching Alex Ramosi talk about the different outfits that he wears, and it's like he's highly successful, but he'll wear like wife beater shirts and shorts and Crocs and or whatever feels comfortable to him. And it's like, I'm pretty sure the clothes he wears doesn't affect his actual performance in his ability to do his job. And now that I work from home, there's some days where it's like because I'm doing different things, or I'm working with paints or whatever, and I'll be wearing a nightgown most of the day. Truth be told, it doesn't really change a whole lot. But I'm also just as comfortable wearing a little bit more corporate kind of outfits. And so, and the thing of wearing those kind of things, it wasn't so much that it made me happy, although sometimes dressing up, I'll get to a point where I talk about the dressing up actually does help you feel better. So I lost my train of thought. I'm not surprised. This is probably going to happen a few times tonight. So, okay. So when I was going through depression and I was staying in my nightgown for quite a while, one of the things I forced myself to do was get up every day and make sure that I showered, got dressed, put on my makeup, did my hair, and then I sat on the couch. So some days that was it was exhausting to do that. So if you are going through that stage and you haven't really been doing the things that you need to take care of yourself, starting in those kind of ways can be small ways to kind of build yourself back up and show yourself some self-care. Okay. And when I was early in my recovery, clothes did actually play a part. I used to, because of the upbringing, and I didn't want to cause unnecessary expense, because I saw my parents always fighting about money, and I'd often, even as a kid, would try to jump in and resolve their financial issues. And of course I got shot down for that, but it's like, hey mom, I can help you with paying the bills. I can help you figure it out, because I was good with numbers and I was good with understanding the bills and getting them paid on time and stuff like that. But she took offense to that. Why? Because I was a child and she was an adult, and she got her back up about that, which I didn't understand at the time. I took that personally. But so back to the story of clothes. So my brother was extremely particular. He wanted the finest labels. He wanted everybody to know he was wearing the good stuff, not the knockoffs, not the cheap stuff. It was very important for him to appear a certain way. Myself, I was like, why am I going to spend that much for a shirt? I'm not going to spend more than $10 for a shirt or $20 for a shirt. That's crazy. And eventually, when I got into recovery, my brother helped me expand my mindset around that, because it was very limited. I was very limited in what I felt that I would spend money on. And it stemmed at that time from not feeling good enough for it. But he helped me in a way of being able to spend that extra money on some nicer clothes, because they lasted longer. They were higher quality, so they didn't get misshapen, because I was always buying the cheap t-shirts that you throw them in the wash once and they're longer this way and then short this way on your body. And so I was always having to replace them. So once I actually did buy something that was a little bit higher quality, then I didn't spend money as frequently. So I had to start learning to pay a little bit of a higher price to get up front in order to get the longevity. And the way he helped me deal with that was, okay, take that item, whatever it is that you're going to wear, and divide it by the number of times that you're going to wear it. Now can you justify the price? And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, I will. And it's like, okay, if I buy a purse and it lasts me the entire year, is it okay to spend $365 on it, or whatever it is, right? And it's funny, because as I got older, I was okay with spending a little bit more. I didn't shop as frequently, which worked perfectly for me because I actually hate shopping, especially for clothes, because I could never find anything that would fit right. So sometimes, what you wear can affect your mood, right? So especially for women, I think women have this a lot where you go out and you're trying different clothes on and now things don't fit your body quite right. And instead of thinking that there's something wrong with the clothes or the clothes aren't manufactured correctly, what do? We tend to turn that on ourselves and think that our bodies are wrong. Instead of clothes being designed to fit our bodies, we try to fit our bodies to the design of the clothes, which is actually insane, right? Because the purpose of clothes are to fit our body. So when we look at those different things, it's like we can see how we have sometimes distorted views of how we're perceiving things. And those often come down to the way we were treated as kids and the messages we received growing up. And I know for myself, I remember getting made fun of too, because as I was being sexually abused, my weight started to increase, and I was much bigger than the rest of the girls in my class. And I remember them coming over, and they all were wearing Roadrunner jeans, but Roadrunner jeans did not come in my size. And I remember one of the girls trying on one of my pants and then laughing because they fell right off of her. And so those were little things of, I didn't make the correlation of that, hey, I'm being sexually abused over here and this is why my weight keeps going up, because I'm coping with all these emotional feelings through food. And so a lot of times people around us will ridicule us not understanding why. Nobody takes that time to understand why. They just assume that it's some sort of personality flaw, instead of looking at that particular thing that they're going through and shaming a person for how they look. They look different. They are different, and that is something to be shamed. And the funny thing is if once you get into entrepreneurship, different actually serves you, because in order to be the top highest earners, you have to be different. You are different from the majority of the people. So it actually serves you. So if you have gone through some of that trauma and you've always felt like one of the different ones in life, take heart. Learn to channel that into something productive so that you can actually do something valuable with what you've gone through. Okay? And turn the lemons that you've received into lemonade. So when I was starting in my early recovery, buying higher priced clothes that fit me better, that looked better, that were better quality, I was able to use that as a way of self-care to demonstrate and prove to myself that I was worth more than the bare minimum. And so taking that little step out are little ways that you can start implementing self-care, especially if you have this sense of not feeling good enough about yourself. So you can do these little things in little ways of treating yourself to maybe something like that you would normally skip because it's too expensive. So taking that action and doing something small, like maybe upgrading to a better room at a hotel, or upgrading your flight, or upgrading the car that you rent, something like that, of taking those things, and as long as you're not doing it to kind of compensate, but you're doing this of, you know what, I have the money. So make sure that you have the money and that you're not overspending to impress or get the approval of other people, because that's a little bit of a double-edged sword that you can fall on. But you want to be able to do things. So I remember when I was down in Miami, and one of the things that I had done, I had always wanted to drive a Mustang convertible, and I rented Mustang convertible, and that was a really great experience for me. And I was actually surprised at how good of an experience. And it's funny because I was actually afraid. I'm like, I even asked the girl at the counter, I'm like, I kind of want to rent this car, but you know, sports cars, and I was about 100 pounds heavier then, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to actually fit. And the last thing, like, you know, here you're trying to upgrade so that you demonstrate that you feel better about yourself, and then you go get the car and then don't fit in it. It's like, that would be like, oh, that would really suck a lot. And although I was working on the weight loss, I wasn't quite where I wanted to be yet. So doing that, and back then, and that was only a short 2 years ago, I was so insecure back then. And although I would be fine communicating with people online, I hated meeting people in person because they always liked my voice. They always liked me from the waist up. I'm fine, right? And I'm a little bit more voluptuous down below. So, okay, a whole lot, whatever. But that being said, it's like, I remember I was so afraid of being judged by other people, that what are they going to think about me? And I had a really great coach at the time that just really encouraged me to do the things for me, not for other people's approval. It's like, I didn't have to be somebody else. I could just be me. And I remember that being so valuable to me at the time, and I really, really appreciated that. And doing little things like, you know, just stepping outside of your comfort zone in small ways. Like, I love to swim, but I hate having to get in a swimsuit and then go out in public in swimsuit. I don't know how women, even if I had a great bod, I don't know if I could wear a bikini, like, honestly. But maybe one day, I don't know. It's going to take a lot. But all of this stuff ties to, and I think as I heal more, as I do more of this stuff and go through this process, I think I'll find that I'll feel more confident in myself whether or not somebody judges you. Because I mean, there's some pretty friggin' awesome looking people on the internet, and there's still people that slag them and talk shit about them and say that, well, they look terrible, or if they look too good, then, oh, it must be fake or something, right? That like, people always will find a way to criticize. So if you're constantly focusing outward, which is a natural trauma response, is to focus outward and be hyper vigilant and caring all about what everybody else is doing and what everybody else is saying, that we never learn the skills to start to look within and start to value ourselves and what is important and special about us, what is different about us, right? And to celebrate that and be okay with that. So yeah, clothes and doing those little activities to be able to start to demonstrate to yourself in small ways that you are worth more than you had been treated before. And this is some of the ways that I started to actually heal myself instead of staying where I was with, because I felt those feelings. I felt those feelings of shame and not feeling good enough, and I would be able to go through my day to day and nobody would know that I was feeling those kind of things. But I would have people, like friends of mine, as I was going through healing, they would call out little things. Like, one of the things that I used to do is I would always look down, and I wouldn't make eye contact with people. And it was partly because I had a lazy eye, and so people would ridicule that too. So I was big and I had a lazy eye. So because my physical appearance wasn't that great, I really learned to develop the other skills and qualities, which I think are sometimes harder. Like, you can, I've seen people within 6 months, a year, transform their body completely. And, oh, thank you, Peter. Appreciate the gifts. So going through these things, it's like I learned to develop my intelligence and to develop my resilience and other things, activities and qualities of hard work and being of service to other people, so that I could somehow be accepted. Now, any character trait that is too far out of balance will end up becoming a problem for you. So you can be really aggressive at being able to attack your goals and make sure that nothing stops you. And that is a great quality to have until you start running over people, right? That you don't care who you mow down in the process of hitting your goal. Then all of a sudden that starts becoming a deterrent, something that's a deficit rather than an asset, right? Or a liability. That's it. Liability, that's it. We're going to stick with more financial type terms. Did I mention I'm a little bit tired? So, and now I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. All right, it's time for a sip of tea. So I wanted to talk a little bit because this was some of the stuff that was going on in my day. So like I said, I woke up really early and I had all these ideas and I put together this plan of some stuff that I'm going to do. The first thing I did, and see, this ties in, it actually segues nicely. Okay, here, let me backtrack so that you can catch up with it. So I was talking about the other qualities and characteristics that I had developed because physical appearance wasn't that great. I also, as a kid, I often had like my hair cut short like a boy, and I think that was just because my mom was a single mom and didn't have time to do girly things and show me how to do my hair. So actually, now that I think of it, I also got told that stuff a lot too in work environments. It's like that I didn't do my hair right, or your hair's too frizzy, or your hair's not this, or your hair's not that. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, functional. And I'm like very basic when it comes to how I do it. It's like I don't like a lot of fuss with it. And that's just because I was never shown it. I'm sure I could learn that kind of stuff, but yeah. And I definitely will. But those things that I was used to. Anyway, way off topic. This is going to be a fun one. No, I have not been drinking. I feel like I have, but I have not been drinking. Okay, focus, Tina. Focus. This is just me really tired and a little bit giddy. Whew, okay. Let's talk about, so as I was getting up this morning, I was going through my numbers and I was trying to figure out, okay, I need to do a certain amount of things in a certain set time, and I broke down the numbers. And so this was the analytical side that I had developed because of the physical appearances not being very good. So I learned to be of service and helpful by developing the analytical stuff and understanding, the numbers and math and all of those kind of things of what it is I need to do, how to solve problems. Back when I was in grade 6, I had this great teacher. He was I loved him, hate him, because he was also the gym teacher, so he was always harping on you about making sure you went for runs. And I'm like, I am not built for running. But because my best friend at the time, she also loved to run, and she was beautiful. And she was Greek, and she was just, everybody loved her. And it was like, and I got to hang out with her as a friend. So, and she was the one that actually protected me when all the other kids started to bully me. So anyway, this teacher, Mr. Cracknell, he was the gym teacher, and he also taught math problems. And composition, which was also SOPs kind of thing. So you had to like do up documents on how to tie your shoes step by step and create that, and or brushing your teeth. And I like thrived on that kind of stuff. Like I got every little meticulous detail in there. So I aced those, and also with problem solving, I aced those kind of tests as well, because in fact, we had to do 100. He was big on the concept of 100. So now looking back and knowing what I know now, he had some like very entrepreneurial mindset kind of things, and I really like that, because there's the power of the 100, right? Of, you know, do something 100 times and you're going to develop the skills around it. So he gave us like 100 problems. Well, I finished mine in like way fast time, and I actually went back and asked for a different 100. I asked him if he could give me more problems to solve. And I was about to go back the third time. He's like, okay, settle down. Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing those. I like figuring out those complex things. So going back to what I was talking about this morning of figuring out those numbers, when you have that clarity of what it is that you're trying to achieve. So if you're not taking any forward momentum, it's usually because you lack the clarity of why this is important. And until you get that clarity of why it's important for you, oftentimes we will easily get distracted. We will not do the things that we know we need to do, we talk about doing, and then don't actually do. And I know this is something that is great marketing stuff. You can do all kinds of stuff and hammer down of why people are not doing this, and you should just be more disciplined. And it's like, okay, you're right. If we could, it wouldn't be a problem. We wouldn't need people like coaches, and we wouldn't need guidance. We wouldn't need that support, and getting to the root cause and understanding what is behind the procrastination. It's not because you lack the skills. It's not because you lack the know-how. It's because of emotion behind it. But nobody really talks about the emotion, and where did those emotions come from? Where did those conditioned behaviors come from? And sometimes people will just focus on, well, it doesn't matter where they come from, just start where you're at and recondition them to be something else. And yes, that can work. But if you have had some deep trauma, not getting rid of that kind of stuff is like just putting a Band-Aid on an infected wound. Yes, you will be able to function, but it doesn't take care of the poison that's within you. And it will resurface another time, another way. So while it takes a little bit longer to stop and address those emotions and dig and find out what's going on, why you developed it, when you get that sense of clarity, when you make that connection, all of a sudden you're now freed. That chain has been broken. You can go through, you can move forward, and it no longer stops you. Okay? This is why it's really important to do the healing work. And it's funny because another thing that I was doing today, so before I had a coaching program that was focused on helping closers or sales reps heal past trauma, because as I was doing role plays and then we got to shooting the shit afterwards, after the role play was done, some people would open up, they would share some things with me, and I'd be like, okay, half the time people just really need help with the healing that they need. And they think that if they get the money, that's going to fix all of their problems. Now, money will solve problems. It will solve money problems. But at some point, money won't become the issue, and you will still have all the problems that you haven't dealt with. And you will find out, I think it was it Jim Carrey or... Yeah, I think it was Jim Carrey that said, I wish that everybody had the opportunity to become rich so that they could at least find out that that's not what's important. And there are things that are so much more important than the things that money can buy, okay? The connections that you form with people, the relationships that you form. when they say sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Yes, if you don't let those words in, but it's the words that do get in and take root that actually will harm you quite a bit and can rob you of years of your life because of you believing lies or seeds that other people have planted and they've taken root in your soul. And unless you actually start to do that inner work to determine whether or not you want that in your garden, you're going to have to start going in and pulling up the weeds and going, I don't want this shit in here. This is actually strangling all the things that I do want in my life. It's really choking out the garden of what your life could be like. So allowing those weeds to stay in your garden. And I remember one time I was actually looking up what is a weed? Like, how do you determine? Because it's like, oh, kids love dandelions, right? Dandelions are pretty flowers. It's like they're bright yellow and they're abundant. There's so many of them. And then they have when they turn into the little puff ball and then you blow on them and you make a wish. All kids love dandelions. Yet we consider them weeds. Why? Because they grow at a rapid rate and they choke out the life of other plants around them. So they're aggressive. So I think plants that are aggressive and grow very fast, maybe they're the entrepreneurs of the plant world, I don't know. They're aggressive and they grow really fast and they choke out any other plants that are in the area, right? So understanding that those are things that we have to start looking at within ourselves of what it is that we need to remove so that we can allow the things we truly want to grow within us. And so while it's great to just plant more seeds and plant the seeds that you want, and I guess that kind of works for lawn care over seeding, right? That actually works. So you have to determine, is the tool that you're using right for the job that you're trying to do? And if you're trying the method of just go from where you're at, don't worry about looking at the path, and just push forward, move forward, and just reprogram your mind to, David Goggins it, and, just tell yourself to stop being a whiny little bitch and do it, right? That was effective for a number of years for me until it wasn't. And then it was a real high price that you don't realize is racking up in the background. And when that bill comes due, then you're like, oh shit. Now I got a lot of work to do. Okay? So know that you need to do that in your healing journey. And this stuff, as I was saying, it can affect sales, right? Because salespeople are the most positive, resilient MRFers that I've ever known. You guys can just keep getting punched in the face over and over and over again. Myself too. I always keep jumping into sales. It's like the friggin' Hotel California. You can check in, but you can never leave. So it's one of those kind of things. So taking the time to do the work is going to be really counterintuitive to what makes you successful in sales. But it's a matter of treat it like downtime, right? That you have to take those steps back, and it'll be like pulling that elastic band back, and when you get that work done, you're going to shoot forward. Okay? So take the time to do some of the inner work. Do that journaling. Do that meditation. Do these different things of purging some of the stuff outside of your system. And this one last thing that I'm going to talk about, because I see my phone's probably at 14%, which is probably about what my body's at today, and I really need to recharge. So, and now I've lost it. Jesus. This is going to be a fun one in the books. What the hell was I going to say? And it's gone. Alright guys, I think I'm just tired. I'm gonna wrap it up here for tonight. But if you guys do have questions or you want to see that I'm not a total tune, go watch my other go watch my other lives. You'll see that I do have some pretty good content that is valuable. And if there is something that you're struggling with, please let me know and I will do up a training on it. And make sure that I've had a good rest, which I'm going to go do now. I'm going to have some very sweet dreams. So I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll talk to you all tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. Go check out YouTube, Coach Tina B 125, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.